Hey everybody, welcome to Studio 64. My name's David. I've been searching the interzones for some more science, space and tech news to share with you. And I came across this at Australia's ABC. Yes, the evidence for Planet 9 lurking on the fringes of the solar system is building. So why can't astronomers spot it? This should be very interesting. Yes, very interesting indeed. A new study, yet to be peer-reviewed, builds on years of evidence suggesting a ninth planet exists in the solar system. Yeah, very interesting. Trying to think of the other name that people use for Planet 9. Used to be called Planet 10, I think, until Pluto got demoted to a dwarf planet. What was the name of that? If anybody remember can jog my memory for me, drop it down in the comments. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Now, despite this, researchers have not yet seen it directly using telescopes, and they're running out of places it could be located. Now, scientists are pinning their hopes on a new telescope called the Vera Rubin Observatory to find the postulated planet. Very, very interesting. As I say, it's always it's been around. I remember reading about it when I was a kid, and isn't it funny how it was just a tinfoil hat wearing nut job conspiracy theory. And now, the Australian government mainstream media is actually writing stories about it. Quite fascinating. A huge unknown lurks in the far reaches of our solar system, something massive enough to pull distant space rocks into extraordinarily long, thin loops around the sun. At least this is what US astronomer Michael Brown believes. Now, in 2016, he and a colleague at the California Institute of Technology, good old Caltech, proposed something almost unfathomable. A huge planet, up to 10 times heftier than Earth, way out in the edge of our solar system. Nibiru, I think that was the other name that people were using. Yeah, I think. Correct me in the comments if I've got that wrong. They call it Planet 9. Apparently it's home of the Anunnaki, which was like in mythology, they visited planet Earth. This is all your Eric Von Daniken stuff, chariots of the gods and things like that. It's quite fascinating. Now they have published a study yet to be peer-reviewed that simulated the movement of planets in the solar system's fringes and found that the chance of a Planet 9 type object not existing was just 1 in a million. I don't see how we can have a solar system without a Planet 9, Professor Brown says. It just has to be out there. Yeah, I'm of the same theory. It's just got to be there. Now, whether it's got, life on it, it's the Anunnaki or some, chariots of the gods or whatever, I'm just fascinated that we find it, and that'll be absolutely amazing. Can you imagine if it was Planet 9, it could be reachable by our technology. We could send a probe there. Can you imagine if we found traces of ancient life on there or current life on there? They were busy ignoring us, and the running joke is, why haven't we, the SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, why haven't they found life in 60 odd years of searching the stars? Because, human beings are the Jehovah's Witnesses of the universe and the rest of the galaxy is pretending it's not home. I would avoid humans too. If, you imagine all these people running around on Planet 9 going, shh, keep it down. Those humans on the third planet can hear us. Fascinating. The only problem, scientists still cannot find it. Now, how to find a planet? But you wouldn't want to lose one, would you? We can't find this one, but you wouldn't want to lose it. It's pretty big to lose. Might be, behind the couch or something, or, roll down the stairs and, ended up in the basement or something. It's been almost 200 years since astronomers last discovered a planet in our solar system. The honour of predicting it goes to mid-19th century astronomers Urbain Le Verrier and John Couch Adams. Urbain Le Verrier was a magnificent person, just as a side note. Magnificent mathematician. I believe, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, he predicted the existence of Uranus or Uranus. I always call it Uranus because I'm a 14-year-old schoolboy. Mentally, of course. Predicted it by pure mathematics. I think that was the case. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing, just by pure mathematics. And everyone, thought, it was Neptune. Was it Neptune? One of the two, anyway. He predicted the existence of these planets purely by mathematics. And everyone thought he was a nutter. And then, lo and behold, there was a planet. I think that's absolutely amazing. They noticed that Uranus, which was only discovered about 60 years earlier, had irregularities in its orbit that could only be explained by the presence of another more distant planet. Leverrier in Paris and Adams in Cambridge calculated coordinates for this hypothetical planet. And when German astronomer Johann Gottfried Galle and his student pointed a telescope to that part of the sky in 1846, there it was, Neptune, the solar system's eighth planet. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. It was all mathematics, pure numbers. Amazing. And then later on discovered by telescope. They found it in the first night they were looking, Professor Brown says. The observation didn't take 8 years. It took one night. I'm very jealous. Yeah. It's interesting. Apparently we do the calculations. That's where it should be. And it's never there. It's going, quick, get the hell out of here because the humans are pointing their telescope at us. Now, while Planet 9 might be found the same way, the most tantalizing hint exists come not from ice giants like Uranus, but the motion of dwarf planets and asteroids that typically orbit much further out in the solar system. They are known as trans-Neptunian objects, or TNOs. More than 3,000 of these exist, including dwarf planet Pluto, have been found so far, although most have not yet been named or thoroughly investigated. We do know that none have the right characteristics to be that mysterious ninth planet. Not even Eris, the largest known trans-Neptunian object. Yes, look at this. Orbits of distant trans-Neptunian objects in the estimated orbit of Planet 9. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Funny, it just amazes me we can't find it. We can find Sedna. There's Neptune's orbit, and apparently it looks like it's orbiting around Neptune. And yet we still can't find it. We can find everything else around it. That's 200 astronomical units, I believe. That's the distance from Earth to the Sun. Yeah, that little marker there. That's fascinating. So I'm not a scientist. I just love sharing this sort of stuff with everybody, And just really, really enjoy just sharing my passion for science. All sciences is fantastic. Now, what some trans-Neptunian objects do have, though, are extreme orbits. Instead of trundling around the sun in something resembling a circle, they are slingshotted out towards interstellar space before making the journey back towards Neptune. That could probably explain this, but it's actually a circular orbit. So I'm just sort of wondering, when looking at this, whether something more in line, not necessarily this object, but this green line that's at sort of this green orbit here at the top, very top of that diagram. And I was wondering if this Planet 9's orbit could be something similar to that. That's why we can't find it, because it shoots itself right out there. Fascinating. In 2003, researchers, including Professor Brown, discovered 90377 Sedna, a trans-Neptunian dwarf planet which had an extremely long, thin orbit. If anybody knows anything about 90377 Sedna, a dwarf planet, let me know down in the comments, because we'd love to hear from you. As usual, I'll leave the link to the main article below the video so you can pop in and check out these embedded links. Makes for an interesting read, believe me, if you want to take a deeper dive. Other trans-Neptunian objects began to be discovered by other teams. Sedna's odd orbit was not a one-off. It is these extreme trans-Neptunian journeys that have astronomers stumped. Based on what scientists currently understand about the solar system and laws of physics, there is no reasonable explanation yet for why they are out there. And it was the 2016 study by Professor Brown and his colleague Konstantin Batygin that rocketed a potential explanation, Planet 9, into the mainstream. Yes, here we are. The evidence for Planet 9. At the core of the study was 6 weirdly orbiting extreme trans-Neptunian objects. That looks interesting, doesn't it? Orbits of the 6 trans-Neptunian objects are far away from Earth. Well, of course they are. Look at that. Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter. Trans-Neptunian objects. So there's Neptune. What are these considered moons of Neptune? So that's a theory of where the orbit is, that one, that dotted line there. Yeah. Mars, Earth, Venus, Mercury, terrestrial. Yep, terrestrial planets, giant planets. Yeah, that's absolutely and utterly fascinating. See, this could be, if it came closer to Neptune, it could be, as it sort of reaches, close to orbit of Neptune, it could be well within the reaches of our probes. That'd be fascinating. The pair calculated a 99.993% probability that the object's peculiar paths were not due to chance. They suggested the reason might be a planet that is 5 to 10 times the mass of Earth, that lies around 20 times the distance of Neptune to the Sun, and it takes 10,000 years to complete a single orbit. Now, is that an orbit around the Sun or an orbit around Neptune? Yeah, because being that far from the Sun, it's definitely not in the Goldilocks zone, that's for sure. Some astronomers are immediately excited. Now, Brad Tucker, an astronomer at the Australian National University, quickly set up a citizen science project to try and capture the elusive planet using data from the Sky Mapper telescope at the Siding Spring Observatory. We found lots of objects, but nothing conclusive. We kind of expected that, but we wanted to give it a good look, he says. Now, other groups around the world have looked since. No one has found really anything that could possibly be Planet 9, Dr. Tucker says. There's the Sky Mapper telescope at the Siding Spring Observatory in northern New South Wales. I'd forgotten about that one because I live in the state of New South Wales in Australia, and I forgot about that one. We always talk about the Parkes radio telescope in Australia, the dish, which helped NASA in '69 with the moon landing, but we never, they're always helping NASA now too, of course, plus doing our own stuff. But I'd forgotten about that one existing. That's fascinating. Well, Sky Mapper. Now, with no Planet 9 forthcoming, a recent ARCS-IV preprint study by Professor Brown, Dr. Batyan, and 2 other colleagues went down a different route. They looked at 17 trans-Neptunian objects with less extreme orbits that did not take them as far out in the solar system. All the things in the outer part of the solar system are also being pushed inwards, Professor Brown says. The team ran multiple simulations reporting that 1 in a million chance that something like Planet 9 is not out there. But even Professor Brown is well aware this is not enough. Have we found Planet 9? No. If we had found Planet 9, it would be not on XRIV for people to randomly find. Everybody would know already. Until somebody points a telescope at it and says, it's that dot in the sky right there, you haven't found it. Now, while indirect evidence for Planet 9 has strengthened over the past 8 years, there are also now fewer places it could possibly be hiding. Well, that's good. Another study published earlier this year by Professor Brown and his colleagues noted that 78% of the sky in which Planet 9 could potentially be has already been searched. That's good. So we hopefully haven't got that far long to go before we find it. And again, there's the embedded link, so you can pop in and have a little look, as I said, main articles under this video. So either Planet 9 is hiding in some hard-to-find location in that final 22% of the sky, or something else is causing these strange trans-Neptunian objects to orbital results. So Planet 9's estimated size compared to other planets and Pluto. So there's the terrestrial planets of Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. There's Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and little Pluto over there. And then Planet 9, the theoretical planet out here. Yeah, I wonder if they've got some sort of major cloaking device. Every time we put a telescope towards them, whatever civilization there goes, oh, quick, there's bloody humans again. Pink, and they switch it off. Or put on the cloaking device. It'll be fascinating. So we can't see them. Incredible. Dr. Tucker says many astronomers are skeptical Planet 9 exists. Well, you can imagine if these aliens were there, they'd pick up our radio and TV broadcasts or whatever and go, nah, don't want to deal with humans. No. Quick, shut the lights off. Turn the radio off. Silent running. Everybody be quiet. It'd be fascinating, wouldn't it? There's still plenty of people who doubt it, he says, but 8 years after Professor Brown and Dr. Battigin's first Planet 9 study, I think there's more acceptance that there's something going on. And see, this is the thing that amazes me. All this skepticism with science. I mean, we were skeptical at one point that the Earth wasn't spherical. You know, we always believed it was flat. And you still got some people who do believe it's flat. Okay, that's cool. But look at all the other things that we've discovered. Apparently, Earth was the center of the universe. And then we found that the sun we thought was the center of the universe, but turns out it's only the center of our solar system, etc., etc., etc. So it would not surprise me. As I said, I'm not overwhelmed by it. I don't think that, there's going to be some Heaven's Gate type moment where, the aliens come and we all, float up there or something. But interesting to see if there was a planet there. Just keeping an open mind more than anything else. Now, why not? Everyone agrees. For Catherine Brown, a theoretical physicist at Hamilton College in the US, extraordinary planets require extraordinary evidence. The idea that there could be, in this day and age, an undiscovered planet lurking in the outer reaches of the solar system is fairly remarkable. Remarkable ideas are bound to engender some level of controversy until they are proved or disproved. Some researchers suggested that because the 6 trans-Neptunian objects in the 2016 study were picked from a variety of sky surveys, this may have biased the analysis. Even with more extreme trans-Neptunian objects discovered and reanalyzed, some have remained unconvinced. Other scientists have suggested that a small black hole might be behind the trans-Neptunian objects' orbits. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that before. Yeah, yeah. That's very interesting. Um, as I said, I don't know a lot about them, but it'd be interesting if anybody who's an astronomer, an astrophysicist, or an aerospace engineer tell me why we can't just point one of our special telescopes towards it. I mean, if we can take photos of, like the James Webb telescope or something like that, towards it, is that possible? Don't know. Again, love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. A study Hamilton College's Professor Brown published last year in the Astronomical Journal might contain the wildest theory of all, that instead of a planet out there, our entire understanding of gravity is wrong. Orbits of objects on the edge of the solar system are not the only cosmic phenomenon scientists cannot yet explain. Now, to keep from falling apart, galaxies require more mass than what scientists can see. The dark matter? Most astrophysicists think that dark matter, there we go, is the missing mass here, but a small minority, including Catherine Brown, believe the answer could lie in an as yet undiscovered aspect of physics. Oh, I see. So there's no Planet 9, but the reason that the other planets and other trans-Neptunian objects' gravity is being affected is because of an undiscovered black hole, maybe a small black hole, or we just don't understand gravity enough. Well, that's a possibility. An artist's impression of what Planet 9 might look like. Cool. Yeah, still a bit. I'm still thinking it's unless there's something special about the planet, or if there's life on it with a civilization with the technology, I still think they might be too far out to be a planet with life similar to us, because we have the Goldilocks zone just the right distance from the sun. They're not too close, not too far. This one might be a bit too far out, but though I could be wrong. They could be they might be able to survive out there. We don't know. We're discovering different ways that life can evolve on our planet now in extremes we never thought, such as, at the base of volcanoes, on the outside base of volcanoes near thermal vents or something. We never thought that was possible. Fascinating. According to her, the hypothesis called modified Newtonian dynamics, or MON, can also explain the weird orbits of the 6 trans-Neptunian objects Michael Brown analysed in his 2016 Planet 9 study. We are at the exciting juncture where either a new planet might be discovered in the outer solar system or a new law of gravity, she said. Oh, wouldn't that be exciting? Either way, I'd be excited. Yeah, personally more about the planet myself, but, either way it'd be good. Wouldn't complain. Even if the trans-Neptunian object's orbital alignment turns out to be a spurious artifact, we'll learn something about the sky. Yes, well, new eyes on the sky. Now, Caltech's Michael Brown appreciates why other scientists are trying to understand what could be behind the strange orbits. Now, until it's found, the majority will be skeptical, I think, he says. Same could be said for anything. Those that are convinced Planet 9 is out there are waiting for the new Vera Rubin Observatory to come online in Chile early next year. That would be fantastic. We'll have to keep an eye out for the Vera Rubin Observatory. It'd be wonderful. The telescope has an 8.4 metre mirror, which makes it the largest camera ever built for astronomy. Now, it's going to be doing something called the Legacy Survey of Space and Time, which is a massive survey taking images of the sky every single night, Swinburne University of Technology astrophysicist Sarah Webb says. This study of survey is going to allow us to try and put a limit for how bright we think Planet 9 might be. Now, the survey will map the sky in the southern hemisphere for 10 years, and because it can map so much of the sky, we can track it when objects change or move. Now, being so much more powerful than those that came before it, speak David. We're operating on half of Biden this afternoon. It will be able to peer deeper into the edges of the solar system and pick up the tiny amount of sunlight reflected from Planet 9's surface. If that doesn't work, Professor Michael Brown suggests ditching optical telescopes altogether. Look at this. When it's up and running, the Vera C. Rubin Observatory will photograph the entire available sky every few nights. Wow. Someone leaks the timetable to the aliens, so... Quick. Are they scanning us tonight? Scanning the sky tonight? No. Let's go shopping. We'll go to the nightclub or something, a space nightclub. And then when the humans are, scanning the sky with their telescope, they'll go back home again so we can't see them. Fascinating. If Vera Rubin doesn't find it by reflected sunlight, the next best thing is to find it not as reflected sunlight, but by using radio telescopes, he says. They're not designed to look at little planets. They're designed to look at the whole sky at once. It'll take a while for the telescopes to be able to see that this planet has moved from one place to the other, so it'll be a couple of years of those surveys before we know it's there. But it's going to be very difficult to hide from those radio telescopes. This would be absolutely fascinating. Can you imagine if we did find something there? And they're ranging a mission to it with one of our probes? Absolutely incredible. The Caltech astronomer wants nothing more than to be able to stop searching for the planet. 8 years is a long time to be looking for something that might not exist. Yes. It feels like an eternity, he says, but he's not ready to give up yet. For him, finding the planet would allow the truly fun part to begin. We've spent centuries studying the giant planets that we have. Imagine we get a new one all of a sudden. All the things we've done for studying the giant planets, we get to do all over again the first time, he says. We will study it with every telescope you can imagine, on the Earth and off the Earth, and I'm sure that we will very quickly work on trying to get a spacecraft out there. It's going to be extremely exciting as soon as we find it. I cannot agree with you more, sir. That would be absolutely and utterly amazing, searching for Planet 9. Now, all right, well, my name is David. Thanks for joining me for another Studio 64 Science, Space and Tech News update. I shall see you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're up for it, drop a comment down below the video, because I'd love to hear what you think. All right, take care, and as I always say, if you can't be good at it. And as I also always say,
I'll be back.